You're in the bullpen. You might want to watch where you're stepping. Here's American Shorthorn Association CEO Montie Soules.
Well, welcome to the bullpen, the Shorthorn Bull Pen. We're here in Des Moines, Iowa today at the National Shorthorn Junior Shorthorn Show and Youth Conference. And today I got two of our great breeders with us and really great sponsors of our Junior Shorthorn Show and our junior program. We got Julie French and Steve French from Michigan, Little Cedar Farms. These two people are special people in my book for the amount of energy and attention that they give to a junior program. And they understand the importance of a junior program and what it can do for a breed, but not only that breed, but those individuals and those juniors that are going to become the young adults and the leaders of the future. So first, I'm going to ask Julie. Julie's got a different background that she grew up in the Angus breed, but we won't really just criticize her too much for that because she's become a Shorthorn girl. She just understands that.
Well, you know how we say it, Monty. I grew up in Angus, but I got here as soon as I could.
There you go. There you go. And Steve brought her to us, so we thank him for that. So, Julie, tell me in your own words why you believe junior programs in general in the cattle industry, but more specifically our Shorthorn group, why it's so valuable.
Well, you know, Monty, we throw around the catchphrase, they're the future of the breed, they're the future of the breed. And we honestly say it so much that we don't realize how totally deeply we have to believe that. We have to support it with both our dollars, our time, our effort, and our interest and our belief in young people. And I just know that the things we do here at the National Junior Shorthorn Show and Conference are really all-encompassing. When I talk to friends, family, sponsors about this, I always kind of describe it as it's like summer camp, but the kids bring their cows with them. And they do everything all week to develop both their cattle side and their self side. The really great thing about our camp is that they bring their parents with them too. So we don't have to take care of them overnight, but the parents are learning, the kids are learning. And you know, Monty, here at the show, we have people at all levels. We have first timers that are, you know, young and 7, 8 years old. We've got first timers. We have a girl in our group from Michigan who's 20 and it's her first time to be at this show. She's shown at all types of different junior livestock shows, steer shows, things like that. First time at one of these, and her eyes are wide open. She literally said to me yesterday, I wish I would have come here 10 years ago. And that's what it's about. And we just have such a holistic program here for kids to learn, and it's about contests. Today I met two young kids who were being mentored by a pair of sisters from Alabama, and they were little kids about 8, 9 years old. The two sisters are teenagers, one's a teen, one's a 20, and for the whole week, they will be mentored by those two girls, and they will develop a friendship. The boy was from Illinois, the girl was from Iowa. They'll be connected for the rest of their lives. And that's what we want for our breed, is to have these long-term connections. And we want our youth and their families to know that we're the place. We're the place that you can learn. Certainly, we have 4-H and FFA programs back where they're from. But as we know, 4-H and FFA programs from place to place, they differ in how deeply they get involved in educating kids. We know as Shorthorn breeders that we can get our kids where they need to be to truly be the future of the breed.
Without question. You know, Steve got his first Shorthorn. He told me this story, and I'll probably get it wrong, so he'll correct me, but he got his first Shorthorn, I think, when he was about 10 or 11 or 12 years old.
That's correct.
And he's been Shorthorn ever since, and it's brought him through life and brought a lot of things to him to where he's at today in his professional life. So, you know, he's not quite as old as I am, but he's getting a little longer in the tooth at times.
Oh, yeah.
But tell me a little bit about your beginnings and how the breed has changed, that you've seen it change in the youth programs, the importance that it has, and how you see it grow from the youth programs to the commercial industry and everything that you see happen.
Well, and that's one of the things I really think is important for the juniors to keep having Shorthorn cattle when they're done showing at these shows, to start their own herd of cattle and start their own program. And that's what happened with me. I started when I was 12, just a small little operation of 3 cows, and went to a lot of these county fairs, which a lot of kids do the smaller jackpot shows nowadays versus the county fairs when you and I were showing. That was our big jackpot, so to speak. But the kids that I grew up with, or that I was involved in 4-H and in the Junior Shorthorn Association program, there's still some of them that have Shorthorn cattle today. And that's what I see this whole youth program here is getting these kids to stick with it and raise Shorthorns. Maybe they don't have the means, maybe they don't have the opportunity to do it, but in their blood they love Shorthorn cattle. And that's really what we want these kids to do, is come to breeders like myself. And in fact, what we're doing here at the show is we're going to do a semen special for juniors and give them half off. One day we're going to do it, half off semen, because I want these kids to be able to afford to use some of these bulls that maybe they don't have the money to buy on an open market. But getting back to what I was saying on the cattle part of the side of this thing is, there used to be a lot of herds of Shorthorn cattle that had a lot of numbers. I'm talking a lot of 100 head cow herds. Well, Grandpa died, and so they didn't keep the cattle because, you know, the land got too expensive or whatever. But nowadays, those young kids are coming back into it as my age bracket, saying, I want to get back into Shorthorns. And that's why we're experiencing such a big surge in Shorthorn cattle. And I'm excited about it as much as you are, Monty.
Well, we claim to be the family-friendly breed, and it's more than a claim. We are. And it's that family, besides that Shorthorn breed that they become passionate about, it's the people in the family that we're part of that is maybe just as important. Right. We were talking a little earlier before we sat down here in these chairs that the cattle are the tool.
Right.
Correct.
But everything else that the cattle bring and do for our youth, for us, become basically a religion, whether we like to admit it or not. But it's a passion for us. And, you know, these kids show, and the friendships that we make. And these youth, I hate to call them kids, youth and young people that come here, we got them doing speech contests. We got them doing team marketing, team sales. You judged that this morning.
Yes.
We got them doing written contests. We got them doing all kinds of different contests that grow them through the year and develop them into young adults. I had the junior board in here earlier, and you get them to talking, and you understand the intelligence and the level and the leadership that they're going to give to our to our world and to our country as we go forward. So this show here, the National Junior Shorthorn Show and Youth Conference, cost us $300,000 a year. And Julie's part of the Shorthorn Youth Development Fund on that board. Steve and Julie have been great supporters of finding fundraisers, having things for sale, and things that we can do to support that cause because they understand the importance of it.
It keeps going up.
And the price just, I mean, well, yeah, 3 or 4 years ago it was $2,000. Well, we got post-COVID now. Everything costs more. So,
Monty, before we know it, within the next 10 years, this event will cost $500,000.
It may not take that long.
And correct. And we know that as our Shorthorn Youth Development Board of Trustees. We know that. We are monitoring it. And we have developed a full complement of programming that anyone can afford to get involved. Mm-hmm. And as I've always said, when everyone gives a little, together we can accomplish a lot. Mm-hmm. And we have that for people. As a matter of fact, today, Jelaine Vaughn from Iowa and I are launching our first sales of our new product, the red, white, and roan summer sausage and beef sticks, our all beef snacks. And we have had 2 different soft launches of our product sales, but that is going to be a really long-term, full fundraiser for our youth. Our Shorthorn Youth Development Fund is selling ice over here, you know, and sure, we're marking up the price of the ice, but, you know, as one of the girls at our stall said, well, I don't have to lose my parking space. I'll happily pay the upcharge. So when you see us and you read in the magazines or see a flyer or hear us talking about it on the podcast about Shorthorn Youth Development Fund, I invite everyone to look for a way that you can get involved. You can sell an animal in a sale. You can join the Red, White, and Rodent Club at several different levels. You can certainly do these buy sausage. We have online pop-up shops. everyone can help. And over time, when we have to meet that goal of $500,000, we will be there, because our Shorthorn Youth Development Fund is the first of its kind of any breed in the United States. There is no other breed that has a 501c3 organization strictly dedicated to a 1-week event. And we know that we talk about this week, but we forget that 51 other weeks of the year, the kids and the families are working just to get here.
Yep.
They're not only doing the work in the barn, but they may be economizing from a family vacation. That this is it. This is what they do, or they're budgeting to be sure that they can pay the cost of driving that truck and trailer to Des Moines, Iowa, or Timonium, Maryland, or Abilene, Texas. But when they get here, we want to be sure that that experience is educational, because we know that it's our job as breeders not just to prepare these kids to be Shorthorn breeders, which I agree with Steve, but my dad always said, we want to prepare these kids to be American citizens.
Exactly.
And the ones we need in our country who have a foundation of agriculture, they have a work ethic, they have values, they have a cultural connection to the land and to livestock. And so I think that's what we're about. And if you are wondering about how to get involved, certainly contact Montie. Montie will send you to people like Steve and me, and we welcome any support, any ideas you have, because we're here for the long haul. We're here.
No, I appreciate that. And Steve, everything Julie said is my belief from inside out, as I've been part of this industry my whole life. And my kids grew up through junior program, and we experienced all that same family time that you're talking about that was special because it was us and it wasn't the business included. But for a moment here, Steve, let's just focus on the value of that you do of making a sponsorship or a donation, and what that value is to the kid or the child that receives the opportunities that they get when they're here, from the standpoint of all the contests, besides just showing cattle, and those things that they learn. I mean, independence, responsibility, all these things that they have to think on their own. I mean, your granddaughters are here showing, and how do you see them grow? What's the value that you would put on that?
Well, I start by saying work ethic. And that's something a lot of kids don't have nowadays. And I think these kids that come here, sponsoring these kids to be here, I think that's the first thing that is instilled in these kids, is that work ethic. And getting up in the morning and taking care of their cattle, and rinsing and blowing and walking and doing all the things that need to be done. It's so important. I think also the awards. These kids, they don't want to do this without trying having a chance to win. These awards aren't cheap, so I really like the fact that the money I put into this goes towards these awards, goes towards the things that they get. Maybe it's a lunch, maybe it's a prize for the speech contest, or maybe it's a prize for the salesmanship contest. I mean, I went over and looked at some of the arts these kids do. It's amazing. There's some tables over there. I would love to have those. I mean, it's just
unbelievable.
There's so much talent in this group of kids that come to these things, and particularly Shorthorn. That's amazing to me. Yeah, to answer your question, like I say, I just think it all goes to a good cause, and it's only money. I might have said it one time before. The Shorthorn breed, to me, is a breed of cattle that, it's going to be here forever. And I want to be known as the guy that helped make the breed better and make give the kids opportunities that they didn't have before. And that's how they're going to get it, by coming here, paying their entry fees, coming here and having an event that is this great.
Well, they make lifelong friends.
Lifelong friends.
Seriously, it's amazing. They'll go home and in today's tech world, and you're talking about those awards, I'll shift around here a little bit. We're in a tech world,
right.
And we've even done some things, graphics contests and so on, that we've had to change and keep up with times so we can challenge this youth, and
right.
We're going to keep doing that. because it's really important that we keep them challenged. And you saw those challenges, and it's mind-boggling
Oh, it is.
when you see what some of these kids, and you can say they don't do it. They do, because I watch my own granddaughters do it. They just know how to run the machine better than the adults.
Oh, big time.
You know, and so it's really important.
You know, Monty, I want to add with this, what Steve was talking about values. Certainly work ethic is number one. Because again, you know, you have a young person that's in sports, they have a coach, they have everything kind of figured out for them. These kids have to figure it out for themselves. And certainly some have parents who came up through livestock or are livestock, you know, professionals themselves, but a lot of these kids out in the barn, mom and dad, all they did was drive the trailer. And these kids are figuring out for themselves. You see here, you see cooperation. You know, you see somebody walking an animal down the alley, and of course they kind of balk and stop. You see 4 people walk up to help. You know, you see these kids, and they care about other people. They care about their other friends, the new friends that they're making. You see young people. Steve's got another little promotion going on at our stalls where he's giving away t-shirts, but he's making them answer quiz questions. Well, these kids, they're walking up and they're interacting with an adult that's not their dad, not their grandpa, not their uncle, not their neighbor, a person they've never met. Maybe they've seen his ads in the magazine, or you know, seen us at the shows and things. They walk up, they put their hand out, they shake hands. Where else do you teach kids that? You know, they learn a level of professionalism that's part of our business. And so I think another value then is that confidence. And it's all presented. Shelby and her team of people and her staff members, interns, the junior board members, all of it, they plan these things so kids are really, they don't even know they're learning anything.
Right.
You know, it's just indoctrinated into them. And that's one of the things that certainly all the junior national programs and all the breeds are excellent. This one is really one of the tops.
Well, it's special. We got a great staff, but it's even more special, and I'm going to elaborate a little bit on this family-friendly atmosphere that we create. It's here in the barns.
It is.
We talk about it, we share it, we understand it, and let's remember, family built this country.
That's right.
And we can't forget some of those things. I may start to sound like a politician, but I'm really not. It's the really nuts and bolts of what's going to keep our country where it's at. And I really have a deep belief that these young people, when they put on their resumes that they've been here, they're part of this, they're the first ones that get the interviews.
Correct.
Right.
You run a company, that's what happens. I've done a lot of business with a lot of corporate owners, and when they see that agriculture show up, they see them breed associations, they see that junior national, that work ethic they know is there, and they're the first ones that get that.
Well, we have a perfect example of that. We hire try to hire high school kids in our area. Mm-hmm. And we had a young man who worked for Steve on our farm. He didn't have a farm background, but worked 3 years through his high school, and then his first year going to community college, and then he was ready to get a job. He went to a local plastics company, which Steve is one of Steve's customers, and applied. Didn't even tell Steve he was going there. He wrote on his application, the first line said, I worked for Steve French at Little Cedar Cattle Company for 3 years. The man across the desk from him looked at the application, looked up at him and said, you worked for Steve French for 3 years? And Alex said, yes, I did. And the man said, you're hired, and put it down. Because he knew that Alex had the work ethic that Steve, which he did. And when he came to us, he didn't have it.
Right.
You know, that's why his parents asked us to help.
He's still working there today.
He's still working there today. He's advanced through the company. And Alex, when he started with us, he couldn't look a person in the eye. He was so ill-confident. He was confident enough to walk into that plastics company. Didn't even call Steve to ask for help because he knew he could do it. And so those kinds of things are, you know, kids might, you know, yes, sure, they can go get a job at McDonald's, they can go get a job at Walmart or any of these companies. And I'm not discounting that because they learn a lot there. But as you said, families built this country. And all over this country, we have family farms and ranches that are teaching kids to not that, you know, at McDonald's or Walmart, you don't really know what anything costs, you know? You're just sticking in the old Egg McMuffin and pulling it out and putting it in a box. At a family farm, you know when you mess up that it costs somebody some money and time, you know? And so I think we can't forget that 51 other weeks out of the year, our Shorthorn kids are working and they are making a difference on family farms and ranches all over this country.
Oh yeah, that's the survival of the family and the unit,
It is.
family unit that goes. Well, you know, it's been a great week. We're just getting started actually, but it's been a great week here in Des Moines, and this fairgrounds probably has as much tradition as the Shorthorn breed. You know, and we're here today with Julie and Steve French at Little Cedar Cattle Company, and they had the champion bull at our national show in Louisville last year, one of the most exciting times in their life to have that opportunity and award presented to them. I just will jump back here and talk about Steve with his awards. We spend about $50,000, $60,000 on awards here, and we give away over 1,000 awards.
Wow.
At this show. So there's an old saying, you can't ask your children to gather the eggs every day in the chicken house and not give them some chickens. So you got to give them back something to keep them encouraged. And that's what a lot of this money does that comes to this. And we appreciate your support so much, and a lot of those that help you and the ones that you bring along, because you show them the way in more ways than you realize.
Well, Monty, I also think on the award thing, Shelby and her group do such a good job of, you mentioned keeping the contests in step, but they do a great job with making the awards relevant and meaningful. Sometimes there's technology, gifts and things like that. It's not just trophies. We don't get, nobody gives trophies.
No,
you know, at the end you'll see the big purple banners, but other than that, the awards that we need to fund are useful things that they can use to
our mentor program, where we have an older junior with a little one, and they go around and introduce and sell things, so they get the interaction. They get an iPad.
Wow, see, an iPad, that's great. Yeah,
you know,
that's what we need.
That's the way we do it. So.
And your money raisers that are happening here with the juniors interaction, there was three young juniors that came from Nebraska, and they were selling raffle tickets. Came up to me and I said, have you ever sold raffle tickets? They said, no, this is the first time. And we talked about it, and I said, I just want to tell you, I really want to commend you for doing this, because you got to meet a lot of strangers and come out and hold your hand out and say, would you like to buy a raffle ticket? And I said, I'm just curious, how much money or how many tickets have you sold so far? They said, well, we started about an hour ago and we've already sold about 200 tickets. Isn't that amazing?
Unbelievable.
Well, I'll tell you what, just a little while ago, I had to go to an ATM because I'd already bought so many raffle tickets, I had no more cash.
Anyway, that's teaching them. That's teaching these kids lifelong lessons.
No, it's great. And you guys are a big part of it. And we're so proud to have you part of it. And we thank you for everything you do and all the energy that you put forth in it. And we probably need to wrap up this edition of the Shorthorn Bull Pen. And until next time, so long, and keep thinking those Shorthorns and Shorthorn up.